What is going on? Welcome back to the RouG Pod. This is Intentional Grounding, and today I have a very special guest with me, my man DJ from Flock Nation Speaks. How you doing?
What's up? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope the flock doing well out there. I think the last time that we got together, we was a little down. I think back then we was a little down. I think we feeling at least a little bit better now at this point, right? I think so.
Yeah, we went out and signed our quarterback, so that made
Uh
things a lot better. But I know since I asked you to come on the show, I got a bone to pick with you.
oh. What I do?
wasn't wasn't too happy. I was checking out one of your live streams, and you did your countdown before the live stream started,
Hmm.
and you quoted somebody. Do you remember who you quoted?
Who did I quote? Who was it?
It wasn't Pharrell. It was somebody that I'm not too fond of.
Let me think. Let me think. Oh Lord, a bone to pick with me. What I do? Who I quote?
But you might not know,
I
but
might not for real.
but all the people here that normally come by, they know who I have a problem with. But Pharrell did it. You could have chose Pharrell, but situations will arise, but you got to be smart about it.
So are you saying you're not a Ursher fan? Is that what?
Everybody and their mama know I have
Oh.
great disdain for that young man for no particular reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it's funny that one. I don't even know where I came up with that, but I was like, I got to put it in the intro because I mean, how often am I going to say those words at all? But so I got to change it to a wise Pharrell once. I see what you
I'm
coming.
saying it's your channel. You do what you like. I just saw it and was just like, I don't even know if I should watch this. But it's all good. All right, so let's see who we got up in here. Of course, as always, first up we got Living Big with Big Reg. Make sure you check out his channel. Very inspirational. He pretends to be a Ravens fan, but those of us that know him, we can't say in particular that he really is because Coach Evans did his top 32 teams of the NFL. He did a countdown, and what happened was Reg said they were somewhere around 17th, the 17th best team in the league. But he's a Ravens fan, right?
Like
I mean,
for this year, or like we talking about overall, like through history?
for the year.
Oh, Big Reg. I didn't check out the channel once or twice. I hope I subscribed. If I didn't, I'm going to go back. But Big Reg, what? I mean, who the 16 better? That's what I need to really know. That's what Because if you put the Chargers up, okay.
But you gotta realize, even without Lamar, we were a playoff team with Tyler Huntley. So even without him, we were one of the better teams in the league. And as people like to say, we almost beat Cincinnati.
Yeah,
So
one fumble away.
facts. We got Coach Evans in the house. What's going on, Coach Evans? Make sure you check out his channel. My man Brandon Bazell. Check him out as well. He likes to do a lot of food reviews. We got Malik B. He says, my East Coast kinfolk. Yes, indeed. My man Chin Wu is back. We ain't seen you in a month of Sundays, brother. Glad you're here and glad you could stop by. Mr. J, the six is in the house. Check out Mr. J at all hours of the night when you're sleeping for his special streams. He says special guests, but he loves doing special streams when he thinks no one is paying attention. My oldest, my baby girl Jasmine, how you doing today? Normally, listen. I can't explain it. I have no particular reasoning for it. It's just that I don't know. It's just some people that you just look at and be like, I don't like them. And if I don't like somebody, I don't listen to them. We got FDT Sports in the house. Make sure you check my man out as well. Raven Ron, what's going on? Yes, Usher is on drugs. He is. And I don't want my children being subject to these type things. But I know you are on a time constraint because you do have a stream after this one, correct?
I do. I'm not streaming on the Ravens channel tonight, but I am. I usually do a recording. I usually do both, but tonight I'm doing probably SummerSlam predictions for the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast, the other podcast I host, for the other thing that I love. So I'm excited to talk about this SummerSlam, get a little caught up, hopefully. But there'll be some Ravens content, especially around Thursday,
All right, so let's not hold you up. Let's jump right into this action. First things up. Of course, with last week being the start of training camp, we're in the second week. This week, the all the teams in the NFL were allowed to put pads on. They're allowed to practice in pads, so that kind of changes the concept of everything. You know, people look good in shorts and a t-shirt running around, but when you put the pads on, you separate the men from the boys. Do you have anything in particular about training camp that you've noticed, or anything that you want to point out?
Some of the things I've heard. I know I've heard Todd Monken talking about Lamar not wearing a wristband. I don't know if he really won't wear one. It might just be this. I mean, it could be a memorization trick too. Like, hey, let's get this offense down best you can. Then, we'll see how that plays out. Because I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree, yay or nay, with Lamar not wearing a wristband. So definitely heard that one. That's an interesting one. That doesn't really. I don't think that comes out a lot in training camps. I don't know what it is about the Ravens letting people into things that they probably shouldn't be into or whatever, but still an interesting little topic. And then just like to watch the offense and watch the talent that's there, right? To watch Lamar be back, watch kind of the wide receiver talent and stuff like that. The differences at running back right now with no JK out there, to see what that looks like. You can't see but so much. I went out to Panthers training camp since I live, not too far away. So, you can't see but so much, but you can still get some oohs and ahs from training camp, and that's always fun. The training camp jerseys is nice. I'll say that.
Mhm.
I say that the training camp jerseys ain't too bad, but I mean, initially it's good to see Odell too. To see him out there, to see him working, to see him still making plays as he oftentimes does. He is a playmaker. That's good to see too, because a lot of people are counting out Odell, and I've kind of talked about this on my channel before. Like, I think it's time for a lot of, especially Ravens guys, a lot of Ravens wide receivers to take some things personally this year and prove that they, for Odell, I am who I say I am. For Rashad Bateman, probably the same statement. I am who I say I am, right? You really think you are? People counting you out, counting you out. This is the time to, rise to the occasion and showcase why I think a lot of Baltimore was excited when you were drafted a couple years ago. We just ain't been able to see it yet.
Okay. I mean, listen, I know everybody's excited about these new practice jerseys, but am I wrong? Because I'm just like, I mean, okay, you add,
You talking about like the design of it, or you talking about the fact that it's a practice jersey and it don't really matter?
no, just the design. I mean, what did they do? They added like a gold around the numbers.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think that was it. But I think like I don't know. I know for me, for watching the Ravens as long as I have, it is nice to see a little subtle change every so often. I kind of wish I like when the Ravens bring out the All Blacks, for example, as an alternate. But the Ravens don't really have a true like throwback that's any different than what they kind of wear now, unless they let Reebok design a throwback or something, right? Like that's about about as throwback as you're gonna get. So like it is. I think I get it. Is there a lot of hoopla around it? Nah,
Mhm.
who knows? But I think at the same time, I think it is kind of cool to see a little difference. Cause like, I mean, I think I got a friend, he's a Colts fan. And he's like, we don't really get like alternate jerseys or throwback jerseys because there ain't no throwback. It's all the same. So, I mean, honestly, and it's probably a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. I mean, I would like to see the Ravens come out with some sort of a change just to have a throwback or have a different alternate than what we used to.
And I think that's why I'm not really excited about it, because if you look across the league, all teams now are designing alternate helmets, alternate jerseys. Even your Colts fans, they have that 1980s jean jacket look. Like, I don't know if you've seen the all blue jean look
Yeah, I've
that they
seen it.
have. It isn't pretty, but at least they're trying something out. Like, they're doing something different. Us, we'll sit there and change the bird eye from red to green. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's just spectacular what the Ravens are doing. But also, with training camp, I heard a little while ago, I don't know if this is true, and in the chat, if you can tell me, they said David Ojabo got hurt.
Oh goodness.
Now,
That
John Harbaugh said it's a 1 week injury.
oh Lord.
So I'm
We
not for
don't know.
certain.
So we don't know what that means. It's basically what you say.
It's basically what I say. Yeah, like, you don't know what's going on. And with the history of John Harbaugh, we don't know if it's a week, a month, a year. Who knows? And I think that for a lot of us, this is the reason why we said go out here and trade for or pick up a pass rusher, another pass rusher, a veteran or somebody, just in case. We went into the last season saying we good at wide receiver. We got Rashad Bateman. He's it. And a lot of us asked, hey, what if Rashad Bateman gets hurt? Oh, no, we good. Rashad Bateman got hurt and the passing offense suffered. So I think the Ravens still have a little bit more work to do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's kind of my, as much as I want to be excited about training camp, want to be excited about football being back, and just the little like preview we get from training camp. My issue is, oh Lord, the mustard paint.
Oh, no. You're right, Ron. Never mind. Stick to what you know.
Right. But like, as much as I want to be excited about it, I think for the Ravens, the biggest thing for them is going to be health, because that's been the issue more than anything over the past couple of years. Has been health, the health of the quarterback, the health of the receivers, that especially you look back a couple of years ago, the health of practically everybody on the roster. So that's where some of my concerns come in. That's where I'm kind of like, all right, let's not hit. Let's not even do a walkthrough. Let's just do like a little like tiptoe or something. Cause like y'all need to be healthy for the season, because for whatever reason, whatever injury bug the Ravens got, I mean, they can't shake it. And I don't really understand it. And, they should pick up somebody else. They should pick up another edge rusher, another pass rusher, somebody. I mean, I know Clowney's out there. I know there's still guys out there that you can pick up. I know Chase Young. There's been some rumors about that and stuff like that too. But like, that's going to be the biggest thing, because the secondary, to me, especially this year, feels different. The secondary feels different, and because of that, the pass rush is going to have to kind of step up too, because we don't know what these new faces and new places going to do. Kyle Hamilton is supposed to be taking the next step, but what if he comes out the gate slow? You got these new corners that are not named Marcus Peters, who have been there and done that.
Right.
What are they going to do? Is that going to be a good decision or a bad decision? And I think the pass rush is the thing that is really making me think like, okay, that's been the struggle. That's been the point of contention for the past couple of years. And the hope is that it won't be this year.
So do you say you don't have trust in Owe?
It's not, I don't know. I don't. I think I was kind of questioned with this one in my last video, and I was like, man, like I don't know, man. Like I want Owe to be good, but I don't want all the pressure to be on Owe too. And I think that's been half the issue of the last couple seasons for Owe. Well, his sophomore slump, I should say, last year is, hey, I'm the guy, and I'm not ready to be the guy, right? I don't have the fundamentals to be the guy. I'm just fast, and then last year I wasn't even just that. So, like that's kind of my biggest thing with Owe is I don't know what's gonna happen, right? Like that's my biggest concern. Is like I don't trust Owe as a guy by himself. I don't trust Owe without Ojabo, because I trust a little bit in Ojabo, and I ain't even seen enough of Ojabo to trust Ojabo. So, I think there has to be another addition to help out. I think Owe needs to be kind of the guy who just kind of makes the play when it's there, right? He needs to be the guy in Kansas City that saved the game for the Ravens that year, right? Like you doing your thing. You got other talent around you, but when the play needs to be made, you're the guy to make it.
I'm not concerned whatsoever. Listen, I have the utmost faith in Odafe Jason Owe, because he did an interview recently and he said he's now a power rusher. No more speed and finesse. No more trying to go out there and look pretty. Now, the problem that we had with Owe last season was he bulked up a little too much. He got stiff. He couldn't bend. He couldn't do certain things you need to do to be a successful pass rusher. But hey, now that man has told me he's bulking up and he wants to be just a power rusher against these 300-pound linemen, I mean, he couldn't do it in college, but I have all faith in him that he's going to be able to pull this off in NFL. Maybe. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him as a power rusher either, right? Like, I mean, the one thing you get sometimes, right, with raw talent, raw guys, is you can kind of manipulate them into what you want them to be. And for some reason, I think the Ravens, and maybe they should, because this is what they try to do with everybody they get, is maybe they should lean into some of those like Swiss Army knife type guys. They're not masters at much of anything, but they can do a little bit of everything. And that's kind of how I felt about Trenton Simpson too. Is like, he's one of those guys where you don't know what you're gonna get out of him, but that's kind of the Ravens' way to play defense. Is we want you to be all over the field. We want you to rush the passer. We want you to drop in coverage. We want you to be able to do everything. And if they invest in more of those guys that can do such a thing, then possibly it might lend its hand a little bit better instead of forcing Oweh to go straight after the passer every single time. I don't know. It's one of those situations, man, where I'm just like I'm concerned about the pass rush, but it's one of those where I believe it when I see it because of that secondary that's behind them too. Because I don't think I trust them as much as I once did.
Okay. And speaking of dilemmas and people stepping up, there is the J.K. Dobbins dilemma with the running backs banding together because that position has been devalued in the NFL, and they're supposed to be on one accord. But of course, Saquon Barkley broke ranks and signed his contract. Melvin Gordon just recently came out and did an interview and said that Dobbins really isn't hurt. He's actually sitting out because he wants a new contract. For me, I think the problem is, no pun intended, Dobbins doesn't have a leg to stand on. He had a very successful rookie year. He got hurt. He came back. He played a little bit, got injured again, had surgery in the middle of the season. So he doesn't have the production of, say, the upper tier running backs to request a contract extension. Now, I get it. Your running back, your shelf life is kind of short. You want to be financially secure as possible. But with the Ravens, I don't think that he has any means or any kind of reasonable, articulable case to make for him to say, hey, I'm gonna sit out until you give me the contract that I want. How do you feel about this situation?
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's kind of the point that I was gonna make too, is because of the injury issues that he's had, because of we've only seen flashes in the pan. We ain't seen a whole meal. We've only seen flashes in the pan, right? Like, I think that's half the issue right there. Has he shown enough to be given we talking about a big contract, right? We're not talking, he wants a big contract, not just any old running back's contract. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's proven that. I think he's proven that there's a little bit there, a little bit there. Like he's been like one of those guys where it's like the previews of the show come out and they look really good. Like they look awesome, right? They put a couple teasers out there, you see it, you're like, oh man, but for some reason they don't finish the show, right? They don't finish the show so you can see, okay, hey, like, this show is really good. JK is like that to me because JK has shown he can be a really good running back in this league, a possibly special running back in this league. But because of the injuries, because of really, that's been the really only thing, right? It hasn't necessarily been attitude or anything like that that's kept him off the field. It's been, availability. The best ability is availability, and he ain't had that. And I don't know if he's necessarily earned a big contract yet. He may have. I could say he's maybe earned an extension, right? Maybe a Gus Edwards type of extension, right? Mm-hmm. Because we've seen Gus get extended once or twice before. But has he earned the level of money that like maybe a Saquon is looking for or some of these other running backs? Not necessarily. But then he's probably thinking too, hey, Saquon's had some injuries too, right? So like, how can you justify paying Saquon, but then you won't justify paying me when we kind of had very similar stories.
They could justify paying Saquon because Saquon has had a couple of 1,300-yard seasons. JK has had 1,300 yards in his entire career.
That's true.
So yeah, he missed some time, and he also is not the focal point of this offense. Daniel Jones playing without Saquon Barkley is a totally different quarterback, and the Giants don't win. So when you have posters and you have kind of the figureheads of an organization, like when you see the Baltimore Ravens, you see Lamar Jackson. When you see New York Giants, you see Saquon Barkley. You don't see Daniel Jones. So I don't think that he can command that type of money. Is he better than Gus Edwards? I love Gus Edwards, but he honestly is a tier above him. But once again, you said the best ability is availability, and he has not been available. I'm not sure if the Ravens really believe in him because, as we've known, I think his career high in carries is 17. 15 or 17. Like they don't really give him the ball much, even before he got injured. They never really had him carry the load for a full season. So I don't think that they really believe that he can do it. Plus, they think that running backs are a dime a dozen now. You can go out and find some undrafted rookies. I mean, we had Tyler Batty, who possibly could have done something for this team last season, and I believe they feel like they can go get another. So I don't know what this young man is looking for. And like Coach said, he ain't Saquon by any means. And listen, I love J.K. Dobbins. Like he has the right attitude. You don't hear any problems from him. You don't see anything from him off the field. He comes into work when he's available to play. He plays. Like what does he average? Like 5.9 yards per carry for his career. And I know some of that has to do with Lamar, but even when Lamar went out last season, I think he averaged like 7.6 yards at the end when after Lamar went out. So that proves he can actually run the ball. And yes, the Ravens want to, they can cut him. I don't think that Melvin Gordon is the answer. And I know 2 seasons ago he had 918 yards rushing, which is a decent amount. But what did he have last year? 322.
Yeah, I don't think they got. I don't think they got the guy to replace J.K. Dobbins right now. Like I think Gus gives you a lot. I like Gus too. I'm a big Gus guy. Back when they drafted J.K. Dobbins, I felt the same way. Like, but I just saw Gus go off, and I just saw Mark Ingram do what Mark Ingram did. So why do we even? I know we do best player available. I get that, but why? Like I felt the same way. And then J.K. came onto the scene. He took that 27 and he took that to heart. And kind of like I said, flashes in the pan. We've seen it, but I think and going back to some of the comments that you have brought up too, like I'm not saying that JK is Saquon per se, but at the same time, I'm saying like, he's got, but he ain't got but so many cards he can play right now, right? Like I haven't been there, but when I've been there, you've seen what I do, and I think that was pretty much where he was going with that, right? Like where he's going with holding out, where he's going with saying, hey, I want my contract because it's one of those things where it's like you got to pay your guys. But I mean, when you look at the depth chart and you think about what Lamar can do running the ball, not that he's going to run the ball as much this year, I don't think, but at the same time, just the threat of him running the ball, right? You pair that with Melvin Gordon. We've seen we can do with the Devonta Freedmans of the world. We've seen what he can do with the Latavius Murrays of the world back there with him. So that helps kind of the Ravens argument of saying, hey, we don't, we can find somebody else to fill in that spot. Kareem Hunt's still out there too. Like, so it's like there's other guys that you have if you want to lean into something a little bit different that's not J.K. Dobbins. But his absence from camp is interesting to me because it's one of those situations where you kind of darn if you do, darn if you don't, because I think there's potential there, but I think at the same time, like there could be reason to say we can move on from you. And I think that's, I think the Ravens are playing hardball a little bit too by bringing in Melvin Gordon, right? Like, because we've seen what Melvin Gordon can do. And it's one of those kind of, cheap late off-season signings where it's like you can bring him in and slide him in and see what he does. But I think you do feel like you got somebody reliable in Gus. At least Justice Hill, I think he's shown some flashes too, but he ain't never been really given that role. He's a special teams guy more than anything. So, I mean, I will see what happens with this whole situation because for me, I would love to see JK back, but I understand the Ravens playing hardball on this one too.
Yeah, but to your point, I would bring in Kareem Hunt, even Ezekiel Elliott, just to see what they have left. Because with Melvin Gordon, through his whole career, even when he was out there being a Pro Bowler, fumble issues, and that is the quickest way to get into John Harbaugh's doghouse. But before we move on, shout out to Limited Energy Drink, says nice collab. Loyalty points August 1st. Yes, today is August 1st. So that means that the loyalty points are reset. Shout out to Ferris. last month's winner. I had to get in contact with him to see what he wants as a surprise. If you do not know, and if you are new here, if you just come and watch the stream, if you comment during the stream, if you look at the pin link in the comment section and donate to the channel, if you become a subscriber to the channel, if you get tickets to the meet and greet, which we'll talk about shortly, and if you become a patron, you get loyalty points. And at the end of each month, we give out prizes, nice little something to give thanks to all the people that have supported me. Also, we got another donation from my man, Marcus Payne. Says, why does it keep showing the same one? My bad. Marcus Payne, shout out for the $15 tip. It says, for a great show. Appreciate you. All right, moving on. Next, I have some key facts. I was looking at the website the other day, and it was giving me some key facts about the Baltimore Ravens. And just let me know what you think if you have anything to say. First thing is the most important players on the Baltimore Ravens this season are going to be Lamar Jackson, of course. That's why he got the big money. Zay Flowers, the first round pick, and Odell Beckham Jr. Is there anybody else that you think is going to be vital to this team's success for the season going forward?
Um, when I, I mean, I guess you could say whoever the heck plays left guard, because it's just been such a carousel. You hope that somebody can hold that down. Um, I think at the same time, like Rock is sin, right? Because I knew what I had in Marcus Peters. I did. I knew what I had in Marcus Peters. But like some of these newer guys, I think they brought Mullins back, if I'm not mistaken, too. I know they cut him and then they brought him back, but I feel like defensively, that's kind of where I'm leaning on that one is the corners, because I'm a little uncertain of what they're gonna do. But I think they're important because obviously they're the other side to Marlowe, right? We know Marlowe is going to do his thing, but they're the other side of that, so they're very they're more important than maybe they seem. And then I think Bateman is another one, because Bateman just adds to this trio of receivers that we want to see, right? Like Bateman he adds that extra wrinkle. Like I know Odell is important, I know Zay Flowers is important, but Bateman, especially put in the right spot, maybe even put in a quote lesser spot. Mm-hmm. I think Bateman has special potential. So can he get on the field and showcase what he can do too? I think that's another one too, because I think he's gonna come out with a chip on his shoulder. I really do.
Okay. All right. Says, interesting fact to know for 2023. The Ravens have never had a wide receiver make a Pro Bowl in their franchise history, the longest active drought. 27 seasons of any team without a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Jackson has the most touchdown passes, which is 95, of any player since 2019 without the help of a Pro Bowl wide receiver. It's not even close. Daniel Jones is second with 60. And I think this is one of the things that, for especially this past offseason, that we have just been beating down the door about with Lamar Jackson. When people criticize him and say he can't pass and he has to run, look at that stat. This is a franchise. It's 27 years old. We've never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver. This man still has 90 touchdown passes. This man has 45 wins. He wins 80% of his games without the help of somebody that he can depend on. Now, I know he has Mark Andrews, and they're going to say, well, tight end is a quarterback's best friend, but he doesn't have anybody on the outside. And that was kind of the knock on him. He couldn't throw to the outside. He stayed within the numbers. So these are the things to me that help Lamar's case, even though I know they don't really care. He's still going to be talked about like he's not that good of a quarterback. But I think this season is going to be the season that he shows everybody why he was where he was on my countdown.
Yeah. I think, we talked about it before. Lamar Jackson is the guy who has done the most with less. And I feel like the more and more that stats come out, the more and more we see, oh, yeah, he really wasn't really working with anybody, was he? Mm-hmm. Right? Like he really, the Ravens organization isn't really an organization that can draft Pro Bowl receivers, can they? Right? So I think that had, to me, we've seen what Lamar can do. We know what Lamar can do. We know how good Lamar is. We know, I credit Lamar all the time. I remember from like the first season or two that I watched him, I know I just felt something different about him when it came to the way he threw the ball. No matter what the criticism was, I was like, but he's throwing guys open. He's throwing the ball in areas where people won't get hit instead of taking big hits and dropping the ball. But also, don't forget about the stat about the most drops in the NFL for a team that doesn't even throw the ball that much to begin with, under Greg Roman. So, I think Lamar, we've talked about it plenty of times. Lamar deserves way more credit than he is kind of, than the lapses that people want to give him. But I just think, I think this is his time to prove it once again. I don't know how you got an MVP and you still labeled as overrated or whatever, but it's just, kind of like, I remember listening to Coach's show and he was talking with I think you were on it too with Nitro, and y'all were kind of talking about how Justin Herbert got signed and nobody said anything. Nobody said there was pressure on him. Nobody said there was he's got to step up now. This guy with no playoff wins needs to step up today. Nobody said that. And Lamar Jackson was the trending topic literally the next week or so because there was no excuses for Lamar. So the dynamic for Lamar is far different than it is for anybody else in the league. For whatever reason, it's just different for Lamar. They're gonna move the goalpost every single time. It don't matter what stat you bring up. It don't matter how you put it to people or whatever. It's like, so I mean, I expect big things from Lamar. I'm excited to see what this Todd Monken offense looks like, especially once they get gelling. Because I mean, I think it's gonna be something special.
Indeed. All right, before we move on, let me remind everybody, we are 3 days away from the hottest event of the summer. August 4th, Busboys and Poet in Howard County, Maryland is the Roundup meet and greet. Myself, Jose and Bradley from Lunch Break Hot Take, OTR Mike from Open Mike with OTR Mike. We got Chris Just Joking from the Deep Cover Podcast. And of course, we got the big guy. We're bringing in the big guns for y'all. Coach Evans from Sip to Tally. It is going to be a wonderful time giving out food, beverages, which are non-alcoholic, but you can purchase alcoholic beverages from the bar. We have swag bags. We're giving away prizes. Now, these prizes that we're giving away, I guarantee you, if you miss out and you see it later on when somebody posts a picture, you're like, damn, I knew I should have went there and got it. Because listen, when I saw it, I kind of was like, I want it. So if you want to come hang out with us, listen, it is in the Merriweather district where there is a lot more to do. It's going to be from 7:30 to 9. After it's over, there are other spots around it that we can go to. Like the party just doesn't end. So where else can you go and hang out, fun, food for $50? You can't do that nowadays. And we're offering it all to you. So make sure if you want to participate, get your tickets today, eventbrite.com, the Roundup meetup, and I hope to see you there. All right, moving on. We have 3 under the radar Ravens. This is another article that I saw today, and I just wanted to talk about it. Now, this first one, it interests me. And I know some people may be a little bit surprised at what I got to say about this, but I have high hopes. And the first person that will be under the radar is Travis Jones. It says, will Travis Jones beat out Michael Pierce to start for the Baltimore Ravens? If you've watched the channel and you know me, I like Michael Pierce. I really do. I was a big fan of his when he was here, and there was kind of this battle between him and Brandon Williams. I wanted him to start over Brandon Williams because Brandon Williams was just a run stuffer. He went to Minnesota, but the problem with Michael Pierce is he can't stay healthy. He's another one of those Ravens that season in and season out, he just can't stay on the field. So I think Travis Jones is going to be an important key to the Baltimore Ravens as a run stuffer, and hopefully he can offer up some of that interior pass rush that we need. What do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, I think they're gonna kind of go hand in hand, back and forth. I think they're gonna lean on each other a little bit. I do think eventually, the young gun Travis Jones will find his way into the lineup. I think the hope is, of course, he'll kind of wreak havoc a little bit. It'll be cool to see him with Metabike. Cool to see the young guys kind of go at it. Go after the quarterback a little bit. We'll see what happens with the big guys. But I think so. I think Travis Jones will eventually beat out Michael Pierce, but I think a lot of that has something to do with the age discrepancy too. Michael Pierce coming off an injury, a season-ending injury last year too. So Travis Jones is kind of added advantage to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, but I just look at Michael Pierce as the Juwan James of the defense. Like you can't count on him to be healthy. All right, coming in at number 2, Rock Sin. Is Rock Sin ready to start for the Baltimore Ravens? Like they just must have just said, you know what, we're gonna test handle on this one because two players that just, especially Rock Sin. Like I'm with you. I'm a Marcus Peters guy. Like I believe that last year was an aberration. I think he's going to ball out for the Raiders. Hopefully, Rocketson can come in and hold down that CB2 spot because if you look at the team as a whole, without that pass rush, we're hurting. We're hurting with cornerback 3, cornerback 4. If we got to depend on Pepe, if we got to depend on Jalen Armour Davis, if we got to depend on a rookie, Caillou Blue Kelly, once again, putting all that weight on the rookie shoulders, we need Rocket Center to come in and hold it down because we know that Marlon Humphrey, he's going to do his thing. He's going to shut that side down. So they're going to target 2, 3, and 4. So, I mean, I know some people are high on him. I just know he allows a lot of catches at a high rate. Do you think that he can actually come in here and man that spot? I know Indianapolis, Las Vegas, there wasn't a lot of talent around him. So that could kind of be some of the reasons why he didn't play up to his potential. But you got to show and prove with me.
I tell you what, man, Marcus Peters, that just him not being here is hurting my soul every time I think about it. But my issue is this is my issue with this because Marcus Peters is a talent,
right?
Marcus Peters. We know how good Marcus Peters is. We know he's a gambler. We know he's a ball hawk. He's trying to get the ball at any point in time. But at the same time, when you look at Marcus Peters on one side and Marlon Humphrey on the other side, you kind of got two shutdown guys on both sides, right? Mm-hmm. So then whoever that nickel corner comes in, that's why, the nickel corner when what's his name? What was the nickel corner a couple years ago? We finally cut him. He stayed healthy, then we cut him. I can't think of his
name.
Talking
about Tavon?
Yeah, Tavon.
Young?
Yeah, Tavon Young. For some reason, I want to say Tavon Austin, probably because they put that in my head with the wide receiver stuff, early in the offseason. But when he finally was healthy, like we saw what this defense really could be. And now, like, not having that true number 2 guy, that scares me a little bit because there's question marks at pass rush. And I think there's question marks at corner. Kind of like you just said, Marlon's gonna do Marlon things, right? Marlon he's gonna do his thing. But at the same time, we've seen Marlon with not a lot of help around him too. And it wasn't good, right? Like, let's just say that. Let's just say it was not good. So that's kind of my biggest thing. I just, can he be the cornerback number 2? He can, right? Like he can, but then, I don't really trust anybody right now, right? Like I saw small flashes from Jalen Armour Davis and Pepe in like the second game of the season, but like that's all we saw. So I don't know if that was just like they played well and there was miscommunication and whatnot, and that's how that went. I don't know. So it's kind of I don't think I've been fearful of the cornerback position for this long. Because, there's a reason why the Ravens traded for Marcus Peters in 2019, right? Like, he came in and made an impact right away, and that trade for him was huge at the time. I can't remember right off, but I want to believe Jimmy Smith was injured. He was in and out too at that time. So they needed – yeah, they needed somebody else. When Jimmy Smith was healthy, Jimmy Smith was healthy. But when he wasn't, he wasn't. So, it is one of those things. And the defense wasn't. So it's one of those things where it kind of takes you back to before that trade in 2019. Could this be the same scenario? Marlon having to fend for himself, and then us trying to fill in the blanks of what the heck we gonna do for for everything else. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, coming in at number 3, and I really want your opinion on this one because I don't know what to think of this. Number 1, I'm sorry. What can the Baltimore Ravens get out of Charlie Kolar? Once again, we like to double dip positions, and just like we did with Dennis Pitta and Ed Dixon, we went out and got Likely and Charlie Kolar. Of course, for some reason, we drafted an injured tight end, so he gave us nothing last year. a spot that we could have took somebody else. But do you think that he can actually come in and contribute as the third tight end? Now, for me, the issue I have with this is we are trying to become a new team. We're trying to establish a new identity. And we're trying to prove that we can actually throw to our wide receivers. Mark Andrews is going to get his catches. I think likely he's going to step up and be a lot better than he was last year. So where does Charlie Kolar fit into the system?
Real quick, because I saw somebody mention Anthony Averett. I wouldn't be mad about it, to be honest with you. But anyway, Charlie Kolar, when it comes down to fitting into this system, there's an old song. There's an old song. It says, "What is it good for? Absolutely nothing." And that's Charlie Kolar to me. Not because Charlie Kolar is not talented, not because there's not potential there, not because he might not possibly be good, but we're looking at a receiver room that, for lack of a better term, is kind of rebuilt, right? You added 2 new guys. You hope Bateman comes back and he's completely healthy, 100%. We hope Devin Duvernay gets to play the role that he should be playing. Nelson Aguilar. You have so many guys that you want to put in these positions to be successful. And I know Todd Monken's a guy who can use a little bit of everybody, but I don't see him using 4 or 5 wide receivers and 3 tight ends. I just don't see that happening, especially with what we saw from likely last year and what we know we're going to get from Mark Andrews. I just don't see – I don't see Todd Monken being a guy who's going to opt for a 3rd tight end as opposed to another receiver or potentially a receiving running back or whatever, however you want to do it, or, kind of utility piece in Devin Duvernay. What can – I guess my question would be, besides block, I guess, what can Charlie Kolar do that Devin Duvernay couldn't and with more speed?
You have a point there. I don't know. Maybe just in case of injury, in case somebody gets hurt, like they have another pass catching tight end to come in, because I think he was prolific in college. I think he was actually good at receiving in college. So I don't know. But, Todd Monken did run a 2 tight end set at Georgia. So he may try to bring some of those schemes and aspects over to the Baltimore Ravens. All right. So speaking of, let me know, who is your most overlooked Raven? Who do you think going into the season is going to be the Raven that people are not really going to rely on or count on to do anything, but he's actually going to surprise?
Oh, man. Okay. For me, I don't know. Rashad Bateman just keep popping in my head. He just keep popping up there because I think people are going to overlook Bateman because Odell, you got your hot shot 1st round pick in Zay Flowers, right? Everybody expects him to right off the bat be what this team needs, that kind of speed threat that this team needs, and and a little bit between the numbers too. We've seen Steve Smith talk about it, right? Steve Smith called out Rashad Bateman for his in between the numbers work, so to speak. So, but at the same time, on the other side, you got Odell, right? We know the star power Odell brings. I mean, just that alone, right? But we know the acrobatics he's got. We know the athleticism that he brings. We know the playmaking ability that he brings. He brings something that the Ravens, let's be honest, haven't had in quite some time. Maybe ever, you might would say, at the wide receiver position, you could say. So I think Bateman is my most overlooked player because I think everybody's going to be looking at everybody. There's so many pieces there's so much talent on the offensive end. You bring if J.K. Dobbins does come back, you add that into the fold too, right? You got so many other people to look at besides Rashad Bateman, and I think because of that, Rashad Bateman is a guy who could possibly be overlooked. I really do. I mean, defensively, I like that Marcus Williams one because I think he does get overlooked sometimes, but I think you can't overlook Marcus Williams when he's picking. He's a turnover machine. So it's kind of hard to forget about him. Maybe I really want to see Oweh come back, right? I want him to be back to life, back to reality. Like I really do. But maybe PQ, right? Maybe PQ on the defensive end because everybody's going to be looking at the lack of pass rush. What the heck we going to do at corner? Right. And they're going to forget that at least, in the middle of the field, it's shirt up, at least in the middle of the field, and unless something crazy happens right before the season starts or something, the middle of the field is shirt up. we'll see what happens with Trenton Simpson as he, kind of finds his way within this defense too. But I think it's got to be PQ, and I would say Rashad Bateman.
Okay, so some people have already named the person that I'm going to pick. So I'll just let you watch this and you see if you can guess who it is.
Assisting people down. My man just started throwing babies out the window. We was catching them, unlike Aguilar and his mishaps. I like to put that out there.
That's all time great clip right there.
Facts. I just don't know why. I just think that people are going to sleep on Nelson Aguilar, and of course, I don't think he's going to give us 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, but I do think he can provide at least 600 yards, maybe 4 touchdowns, which is good enough because he's going to be what, wide receiver 4?
Do you think he'll outplay Duvernay?
Most definitely.
Do you think, and that's kind of a question I got. Do you think they're going to turn, because of the guys that they have at receiver, you think they're going to kind of turn Duvernay into not only a utility piece, but let him do his thing in special teams? That's, that is his kind of forte right now.
Yeah, I think they may have him specially just located on special teams, because if you look at last season, he started off really hot. Like I think through the first 4 or 5 games, he had like 313 yards, 3 touchdowns. But when you start playing wide receiver, you start returning in the NFL, it breaks down your body. And he got injured. So I think they're going to let him kind of get back to the Pro Bowl season that he had and bring in these other guys. Because if you look at it, Nelson Aguilar, out of all the receivers on the Ravens roster, he's the last one with 800 yards in a season. And a lot of people sleep on that. Like, he has an 800-yard season. He may not be the best. He may have occasional drops, but what wide receiver on his roster doesn't? Like, all our wide receivers drop balls. So, I mean, if you drop balls and you can give me 800 yards as wide receiver 3, 4, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I can see that, because I think with Duvernay, I think this is a perfect season. This is not even necessarily with just Duvernay. This is with everybody. This is, with Todd Monken coming in, this is a perfect time to get everybody back to where they need to be. Get Patrick Ricard back to playing fullback and not slot receiver. Okay. I'm just saying, like this is the perfect time to put people in the proper places to be successful, right? And that's both offensively and defensively, right? Like, figure out what the heck you can do with Owe and let him do what he does best, whatever that is, right? If that's making a play because that's what's there, then cool. Devin Duvernay in the same way. Like, if he's the playmaker guy that you want him to be, then let him do that. Whether it's special teams, whether it's a gadget play here and there, they should probably actually give it to him on the end around every so often, so it ain't just a trick all the time, but we'll see.
What are they going to do with Ben Mason?
He might. I don't know. Might be the long snapper.
How can we be the Baltimore Ravens if we don't have 2 fullbacks on this roster? Like, I just wouldn't feel right. All right. So let me know for this upcoming season, what is on your Ravens wish list?
And this may be a little bit of a generic answer for the first one, but I'm looking, I'm expecting, I'm wholeheartedly knowing that this is going to happen, manifesting that this is going to happen. It's going to be a big season for Lamar Jackson, right? I'm tired of the criticism. I've been tired of it for years. Been tired of it since 2018, but whatever, right? So been tired of it for so long, but at the same time, like, I think with the guys that's around, with the new offensive coordinator, I think it's going to be a special season for Lamar. That's definitely on the wish list. 5,000, maybe 6,000. He said it. I'm just gonna hold him to it since he said it, right? 5,500 or something like that. We'll see what happens. I would love to see. I want to see a division sweep. I know that's hard to do in the AFC North, but I would love to see it again because I'm tired of the Steelers. Right? They just make me tired. I wake up tired of the Steelers. The Bengals, I just can't stand at this point, right? Like, I know they had a little scare. I know they was nervous over there in training camp, but like the Bengals, I just can't stand. They talk too much for their own darn good. And then at the same time, defensively, I want to see some sacks without rushing more than 4 people. That's what I want to see.
Right.
That's what I want to see. I want to see somebody break out as a premier pass rusher. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Tyus. I don't care if Roquan do it. I don't really care who does it. Patrick Queen, Trenton Simpson, it don't matter. Like, I don't really care who breaks out as that guy, but it would be nice. It would be nice to see like somebody step up as a premier pass rusher because Tyus has shown flashes, but I don't know. That's kind of the we'll see. Maybe Oweh has surprised me, right? Maybe Oweh had just come out have 14 sacks or something. I don't know. We'll see. Don't hold me to that one though, because I don't want you to hold me to that one.
Okay.
That was wishful thinking.
All right. So I have 5 wishes for this upcoming season. My first wish, Ravens win the Super Bowl. We kill the narrative that Lamar Jackson can't win in the playoffs. He brings the title to Baltimore like he promised. My second wish is we go out and trade for Dalvin Cook. That's my second wish. Go out and trade for Dalvin Cook. We can keep J.K. Dobbins. Like, we can have 2 good running backs.
Well, we don't have to trade for him, right?
Sorry, pick him up. We don't have to trade him.
Yeah.
Just sign him.
Wait a minute. But they just picked up Melvin Gordon. If Dalvin Cook was out there, why just
But the details of the contract just came out, and potentially they can cut him. He gets nothing. Maybe it was just a scare tactic.
Maybe.
So that's that. Third, which maybe should be 1, Lamar plays a full healthy season. That may be my first one. Lamar plays a full healthy season so we can potentially see what he can do. 4, I want the Ravens to go out and get a pass rusher. Unique Ngakoue still out there. Get somebody because we don't know what this pass rush can do. And of course, we don't want to get them into the fire and then figure out that they can't do the job like we thought they could. And now we're in panic mode. All the good pass rushes are gone. 5, my 5th wish would be for the Ravens to go out there and secure another cornerback. Get that cornerback that you know can play just in case. I'm not saying Rock Ya-Sin can't play. I'm not saying Caillou Blue Kelly can't play. Get somebody just in case because I'm tired of the let's wait and see with Lamar Jackson. Every year it's, well, we got these pieces. Let's see if they can play. Then next thing you know, we're going to be in year 9 of Lamar talking about, well, let's give him one more year and see if they can actually catch up.
Yep.
What's going on, Zeke? How you doing? All right. I know you got to get out of here. So last thing, give me your predictions for the AFC North. How do you think that this division is going to play out?
I think I'm going to start with, I think the Steelers had their first losing season under Mike Tomlin because they've been close, and I don't know if they truly improved enough to, improve, their win total this year. So I think they had their first, it'll literally be like 1 loss under 500, but still, they'll be competitive like they always are.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 3-team race for the North. I obviously think the Ravens win it because I'm biased. Okay. I think the Ravens win it, number 1, because I think their talent is better than a lot of the rest of the AFC North is going to necessarily give the Ravens credit for. They still kind of on that wait and see period when it comes to their talent. So I think the Ravens will win the North. I think they'll have some pretty substantial victories, not only in the North but outside the North too, throughout the AFC, as stacked as it is. And then, honestly, I think the Browns bounce back, and I think they end up taking second. I think they end up in a dogfight with the Bengals to try to get a spot in the playoffs. But I think they take second place and the Bengals take third. Not because I hate the Bengals by no means, but I do. But at the same time, I think it's more so because I think the Browns are also one of those overlooked teams that I think for whatever reason, I don't know, like Deshaun Watson is still really good, guys. He's still Deshaun Watson until proven otherwise. Don't let him take a year and a half off and then say he's not Deshaun Watson. So let me see him with a real off season, right? Let me see him with not having a year and a half off before he comes back to play football. And we'll see, we'll see what happens. But I would say Ravens, Browns, Bengals in a very close race right there, especially with 2 and 3, and then the Steelers.
Okay. I have always been a firm believer of you are the champ until you beat the champ. You know what I mean? But with the recent injury to Joe Burrow, that kind of puts a little damper on the Bengals season. So as it stands right now, of course, I think that the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. Because I think myself, just like you, Cleveland is going to give them a dogfight. Like, listen, I
They
keep
always
saying
do.
this.
That's the thing.
I keep saying this. Defensively, Cleveland has always been stout, and they just picked up Zadarius Smith. And I know he's going to be motivated to play against the Ravens twice a season. So I think I'll go. I guess I'm going to go Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. But if Joe Burrow comes back healthy, if Joe Burrow's healthy for a full season with the offensive line upgrades the Bengals have had, I guess I had to put the Bengals second. I guess I got to put him second because I just don't know if with that injury he had the same like injury like Kevin Durant had. And I think if, you know what I'm saying, he goes back a little too soon, he may re-aggravate it to his ACL. I don't know. So, but I mean, I think everybody is in agreement that Pittsburgh is going to be number 4 in the division.
You know what's funny about that? I got a friend from back home. He was a Washington fan for probably his entire life. Probably, fan. He was grandfathered in, I'm sure. And he said, "You know what, man? I got to get my allegiance up. I can't do it no more." So he switched. He switched teams. Right, probably around about the time that Washington might actually start to get things going in the next couple of years with Eric Bieniemy and everything, new ownership and all that. But whatever, do what you want to do. He switched teams. And I was like, I was excited. I tell you what, man, I was excited to see who he's gonna pick. I'm like, he might pick the Ravens. Like I might have rubbed off on him a little bit. When I tell you this man picked Pittsburgh in the middle of a rebuild, what? Like I know they got the banners up and all that, but like we don't care about that. We talking about right now, okay? We talking about right at this moment. Right. Why would you do that to yourself? It could have been worse, I guess.
What's going on, Brandon? Brandon says, "What about the offensive line? Do you have any thoughts on the offensive line? Because like we had a discussion before the stream." The Ravens have tried everybody and their mama at that left guard position. Do you think, even if they solidify that left guard position, do you think that this offensive line is solid? Because for me, I still have questions with the op. Like Morgan Moses to me is not the answer at right tackle.
Yeah, barring injury, I think this offensive line will be okay. I think because of the veteran leadership along this line, like we got Ronnie, Tyler, not veteran, but second year, he's been there, done that. You can say Zeitler, Moses. I think it just depends. Like it depends on the left guard, but yeah, it does depend on right tackle too. But you got McCarry, who we know we can play right tackle. I wish they would find somebody who actually can play it. McCarry just been like a Swiss Army knife piece that's just been there, done that. Time and time again, and is mostly healthy. He has kind of knick-knack injuries, it feels like, but yeah, I think I might be more concerned about right tackle than I am left guard. I think just because like I think the potential with the rookie from NC State, I think he could step up. I think you got other guys who could step into that position, but I think the line will be better than it has been. It's just those two positions I think I'm truly worried about. And Morgan Moses has his moments, right? Like there's times when Morgan Moses lights out, and there's times when Morgan Moses lights are out, right? Like it just depends, Like
right.
I mean, if he shows up and can be good Morgan Moses more than not, I think we'll be better off for it. But I think there's depth at least. I think that helps too. There's depth at a lot of these positions, which I think we need. It'd be nice to see Ronnie be healthy, like healthy. Not like just a little bit healthy, but healthy for once. That'll be good. But I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be better than it has been. Because I mean, when the year after Yonder retired, oh my goodness. And I know they tried to say that the offensive line was still good because Lamar was running practically for his life and making plays, but they was wrong. They weren't watching. They weren't watching the games.
All right. Last question. Do you think Ronnie Stanley finally gives us a full, healthy season? Finally.
It's hard because as Ronnie Stanley gets older, full and healthy seasons are hard to come by, I think, with the injuries that he's had.
Because he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it throughout his career. He has not
Yeah.
played a full season his whole career.
I think if there's any time to give a full season from Ronnie, to get a full season from Ronnie Stanley, it is this season or next season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could, but O-line is. I mean, it's hard to stay healthy at O-line when you had injuries before too. A full season, 15 games, maybe I give him. I say he will. I think he will. I'm just
Jay.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will as well. All right. So I know you got to get out here because you have some more streams and some more recording to do. Let the people know what you got going on and where they can find you. Link will be down in the description.
All right. So you can find me for the Ravens people out there. I take care of y'all first. Fly Nation Speaks on YouTube. You can find me on all the major podcasting platforms. Wherever you find the RouG Pod, I tell you what, you can stack them up back to back. You know, RouG Pod, Roundup, LBHT, all of them. All y'all streams, and me too. Y'all just stack them up. Y'all can have a whole Ravens day, I tell you. And then the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, I'm doing a SummerSlam preview. We'll see how that goes. Got to take care of what I live, but you know how it is. So check me out over there if that's your forte. If it's not, slide back into it, and then we'll talk.
All right. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us for this last hour. Hope to have you back to the channel real soon. And listen, make sure you go over to Flock Nation Speaks, subscribe to my man, support him, support your Ravens content creators. I don't think everybody does enough of that. And I'm not just talking about me. Let's show these other fan bases that we support our people, because we put a lot of work into this stuff. I mean, we love doing it. We love talking, hanging out and all, but just make sure y'all support. Make sure you like, subscribe on your way out, comment, replay, share, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time.